I hope everybody's doing great today. And it's been a long time since I've been on. I guess Thursday was the last day. There's been a lot that has transpired since then. Quick recap of yesterday's games. We had the Miami Heat taking game one over the Milwaukee Bucks. That was awesome to see. Underdog coming in and taking that. We saw something similar between the Bucks and the Magic in their game one matchup as the Magic took that game. Also, the night game was between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets. Rockets winning most of that game, but the Thunder finding a way, clawing and scratching their way back into that game to force a game seven. And that is not the only game seven in the first round of the NBA playoffs. Right now, also have the Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz. That's the late game tonight. And, of course, at 5:30, Game 2 between the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors. So, guys, the second round is starting right now between the Eastern and Western semi-conference finals. So, it's looking really cool to see right now. I love how all these matchups are happening between these teams. My favorite series so far is definitely the Jazz and the Nuggets, although Houston and OKC is definitely doing their part to put themselves up there as well. And, like I said before, a lot of these teams, all these young superstars are just coming up big time. And we're going to be talking a lot about that Nuggets and Jazz series. I think some of the players that will be mentioned on the show already. But just wanted to remind everybody, if you're just tuning in, you are listening to Pick and Pop Player Props with Jimmy Scalia. I'm your host. I'm glad to be here today. Hope everybody is glad that we're going to get in some nice bets today. Hopefully I come through for you guys. And don't forget, promo code is Scalia, Scalia. You could use it to get a 20% off discount off of a BetQL account. Guys, you're going to want to go to BetQL and make an account. It will be a best investment you could possibly make for your sports betting data, whether it be baseball, football, basketball. As we know, all those sports are going to be on at the same time. Definitely, you don't get a lot of that, during regular seasons. And now, obviously, due to complications that Corona caused, we're going to have all these sports in the heat of the battle. I'm really excited to see what September has in store. Obviously, as today is the first day of September, summer coming down to winding down to an end right now. But like I said, guys, don't forget promo code Scalia, Scalia, if you want to log on to BetQL.com, create an account, use the promo code, and it will be a great investment for yourself. So like I said before, guys, taking a look at these matchups today, obviously game one between the Celtics and the Raptors did not go Toronto's way as they got kind of smacked around again. We saw that earlier in the bubble in a regular season matchup they had with each other, and the Celtics took that one as well. So this is a big game, too, for the Raptors. They're actually still favored to win this game, according to FanDuel and DraftKings, about the minus 100 to 200, kind of within that window. And it'll be a big game for them, especially since, like I said before, the Celtics have took them down 2 times now. They're going to have to respond in game 2. You don't want to go down 2-0 against a Celtics team that's coming off a sweep, and they have yet to lose a playoff game in the bubble. With that being said, obviously the night game, this is the one that everybody should be looking forward to, at least, between the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets. Boy, it's been fireworks within this series, and I've just been, sitting back and watching in awe between how good Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray, the youngsters, have been in these big-time moments. Obviously going to get to those guys within their player props, since they have some interesting ones here. But let me not say too much. Why don't just dive right into the show? And obviously the first segment, as we always address, is why him, and this time I'm going to focus on the Celtics-Raptors game. We're going to go with Marcus Smart. Now, obviously, as everybody knows, Gordon Hayward has not been playing in the playoffs since getting hurt in Game 2 against the Philadelphia 76ers, hurt his ankle, so he's out an extended period of time. Obviously, because of this, puts Marcus Smart in the starting lineup for the Boston Celtics. And he's a guy that I like for this value pick for over 22.5 points, rebounds, assists. This is on DraftKings minus 103 odds, something you could bet on by itself. Maybe throw in a player prop parlay. Why not? Something I do pretty often. Reason I really like this line from Smart, if you think about Smart as a player, he's pretty much covers every base you need to. You look at game one against the Raptors, he was 5-9 from three. He posted 21 points in that game. And also, he had six, over the past 3 games as well, averaging about 6 rebounds along with 3 to 4 assists per game. So what does that show me about Smart? Obviously, he's not the guy that's going to go off for 30, per game or anything like that. But this is the thing. He always finds a way to be around the ball, and he could get those other categories up higher, such as rebounds. 6 rebounds is very valuable for a person like Smart in this situation. He's not just a scorer. He's actually a great defensive player for the Celtics as well. And I just feel like he's a great jack of all trades to have in this situation. What better to have a jack of all trades for a prop like points, rebounds, and assists? Like I said, 21 points, 6 rebounds. He had about 3 to 4 assists in his last game. So you take a look at that and you wonder, okay, if you can get a couple more opportunities, and you look at the line, it's only 22.5. So even if he scores about, I'd say 17 to 19 points, you still have a pretty good shot of getting that line. And obviously, Smart's going to have his opportunities, playing way more minutes every game with Gordon Hayward out of the lineup. And like I said, obviously the opportunities are there for Smart. Hayward's out. He's a guy that could, move the ball around, get rebounds, shoot from the perimeter, drive to the rim. He is kind of one of those, a renaissance guy for the Boston Celtics in this spot. Also worth mentioning on BetQL, the Raptors have a C- starters grade right now against the Celtics. Something to take advantage of right now, as Raptors defense has not looked up to par against the Boston Celtics in game one. Take a look at that situation. I like Smart for over 22.5 points, rebounds, assists. This is on DraftKings, guys, minus 103 odds. So, yes, I did like that one a lot. Obviously, Smart, not the first guy you're really going to want to bet on for a player prop, but I like his line a lot, and he stays involved in the games. That being said, going to move on to nothing but the net, and this one is boosted on FanDuel. Jamal Murray to score 35 points plus 230. Now, guys, don't get me wrong. Obviously, look, anything plus 30 points is a great game in the NBA, but these guys between Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell have been practically doing that every game this series at this point. And take a look at the odds here. It's plus 230 for Murray to score 35 points. Now, a lot of people could be wary of this, but here's the thing that I'm comfortable with if I'm going to make this bet. If you think about the Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray, the reason that they are in Game 7 is because of Murray's offensive shooting right now. He has been unbelievable. I mean, his past couple of games, you take a look at some of these numbers. He had 50 in 2 of them, and then the other game he had 40, actually more than 40. So take a look at that. Obviously, that's going to come into fruition when you take a look at what it's going to take to beat the Utah Jazz. And Jamal Murray knows. Obviously, Nikola Jokic is a great offensive player to have with him. But outside of that, who are the other guys that are scoring outside the perimeter? Michael Porter Jr. has been a good player for them. Not very consistent. Murray has been the guy to lead this team. He was 9 for 12 from downtown last game, simply took over. And I think he knows this because you take a look at the past 2 games they've won. If he's taking over, he understands what he needs to do, not selfishly, but in order for this team to win the game. So like I said, guys, volume, volume, volume. He's going to be taking a lot of shots. He knows he's going to have to come through big time for this Game 7. It's win or go home. That's simple for the Denver Nuggets. Like I said, he plays 40-plus minutes of games, averaging upwards of 45 points in his last 3 games. And it's something that's totally within his arsenal. This is a guy that is pretty much, a lot of people think of the Denver Nuggets, obviously Jokic is the first guy you think of, but Murray has really been the guy carrying this team down the stretch within this series right now. Also, taking a look at BetQL, Nuggets are slapped with an A- offensive grade. That should definitely help them against a Jazz defense that has been suspect at times. And this is the thing about Murray and Mitchell. Both of them are great offensive players. They don't really cover each other that well because these guys just continue to go off when they're matched up against each other. Obviously, they get the best of each other. But I really like this plus 230 on FanDuel. That's a good value bet to have in this situation. And I think this is something that you want to take advantage of the promotion that FanDuel put up. And with a series that's been trending this way, 35 is definitely well within Murray's realm. He'll have the volume to do it, just a matter if he hits the shots or not. But let's be honest, a lot of basketball bets, I should say, most important thing is value. You want to see not volume, not value. Volume, because you want to see how many shots this guy's going to take, how many opportunities. It's all about the opportunities. Them making the shot, that's something that's out of our control. But the one thing that's in our control is determining how much volume this certain player will get within a game. And I think Murray will definitely have that in Game 7 against the Utah Jazz. Before we move on to the next segment, guys, just want to remind you guys that you're listening to Pick and Pop Player Props. I'm your host, Jimmy Scalia. Promo code Scalia, Scalia. If you want to sign up to a BetQL account, you get 20% off, and you'll get the best sports betting data on the planet just in time for, obviously, the NBA playoffs. Baseball's heating up, and football is just getting started around the corner. Cannot wait for that. So, yeah, we'll move on to the next segment. Why not? And we're going to go to Bounce Back Ballers, Fred VanVleet. And this is also on FanDuel. This is alternate over 2.5 3-point field goals, minus 205 odds. You take a look at Fred VanVleet's stats from last game against the Celtics. Very poor performance. He was 2 of 11 from downtown and 3 of 16 from the field in general. I think that VanVleet knows that he has to come up big time in order for his team to find a way to beat the Celtics in this game. He can't have a performance like that again. Obviously struggled offensively. And the reason why I'm taking the alternate on this, his line got bumped up to about 3.5. So I took a look at that. Odds were about plus 100. If you take a look at 2.5, though, minus 205. Really not a bad thing to throw in a player prop parlay if you were to make one in this situation. Volume's there for VanVleet. Like I said, he shot 11 times from downtown. And this is an area of the court he specializes in. Let's be honest. Fred VanVleet can do he can definitely do some work inside the paint. But this guy is a dead eye from the perimeter. And I I do like him as a bounce back baller in this situation. Like I said, he only needs 3 3-point field goals. So you take a look at that. Even if he gets 1 3-pointer in the first half, that is still good enough to keep you alive for the second half in the game. So Fred VanVleet, like I said, volume's there for that. Good value, that he's a great 3-point shooter, and he's shooting a lot in this situation. And like I said, they know they can't go down 0-2 against a Celtics team that can find a way to run away with this series. They have to win Game 2. Starts with offense, starts with Fred VanVleet, and I like this alternate line of over 2.5 3-point field goals. With that being said, also just want to mention, Raptors have an A offensive grade, so obviously the Celtics have been playing well against them, but in this situation, you could also think to yourself, look, VanVleet will definitely be able to get some shots against this team. That being said, we're going to move on to the next one, and obviously we're going to address Jamal Murray's best friend, maybe best foe, Donovan Mitchell on FanDuel. This is a classic, are you feeling risky to score 40-plus points on FanDuel plus 320 odds in this situation. So Donovan Mitchell, as we know, has been going off in this series just as much as Jamal Murray. Also has 2 50-point games within a series. And guys, besides Murray and Mitchell within this series, the only other 2 players in NBA history to have multiple 50-point games within a playoff series. are Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson. Pretty good company that these guys were able to put themselves in within one series, both of them. Pretty great stuff. Like I said, we talked about Jamal Murray before. Now it's time to focus on Mitchell, as they call him, Spider. And the Jazz are listed with an A- offensive grade on BetQL right now. So obviously Mitchell's going to come out to play. And again, it's a similar situation to Jamal Murray. Mitchell has just been carrying this team down the stretch, even in Game 6, where the Nuggets just kept pulling away. Mitchell continued to fire back three-pointers from downtown and hit everyone in the fourth quarter. It seemed like every single time we put the ball up, it was nothing but net. So like I said, yeah, I mean, this is definitely something we could end up seeing, even in a loss. Look, Mitchell had 57 in a loss in Game 1 in overtime. And here's another pro. He'll be taking over the game just like Murray, since the only other real outside presence is probably Mike Conley in this situation. Rudy Gobert obviously scoring within the paint only, and besides Conley, not many other scoring options he's going to be looking to toss the ball to. Obviously, Jordan Clarkson as well, but he was struggling with some consistency in Game 6. So that goes to show which veterans, where the ball's going to go in these situations. Who are you going to trust with the ball in their hands? So, like I said, Mitchell last game had nearly 50. He's been deadly from three, and it's Game 7. Look, as Reggie Miller said in The Last Dance, Game 7, you throw out the playbooks. Anything can happen in Game 7. And I think we know that we will be seeing these guys duel to the bitter end in this Game 7. And obviously, like I said before, Mitchell, his last 3 games, he has 44, 30, and 51. Has been going absolutely bonkers on this team. And we'll see if he's able to bring it. But like I said, this was on FanDuel, plus 320 odds. This was another boosted one, and I like it for this situation. Maybe throw 20 bucks on it, end up with a pretty good value bet in that situation. Like I said, guys, he's going to be doing the majority of scoring outside of Mike Conley, potentially. Talking about Mike Conley, why not move on to the segment that includes him? Yes, I know that he is a guy that I've come to, address his player props. I did it in the last show. Guess what? I'm going to come right back to it in this situation. Since he keeps accomplishing this feat, he's done it in 2 of his last 3 games. In this situation, Mike Conley has to score over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. This is on FanDuel with minus 115 odds. So if he consistently hovers around 20-point totals, I think he could definitely find a way to make up those last 7 to 8 rebounds and assists within a game. You take a look at his point totals, his last 3 games, 21, 17, and 26. So Mike Conley has been bringing it this series for sure. And he even had 6 rebounds last game. Definitely something to focus on in that regard. I like that. He's also had a few assists as well. And yeah, so like I said, he had 6 rebounds, 5 assists last game. So that's 11 total assists and rebounds. So if you think about it in that degree, doesn't even have to score 20 points in that situation, and he would have got the over on this prop on FanDuel. Also looking at Conley's stats, he's hit 10 threes in his last 3 games. He's been solid from downtown. He's locked in. The savvy vet has been coming through time and time again for the Utah Jazz in this situation. So another reason why I like him moving forward against the Denver Nuggets. Keep your eye on Mike Conley. If you're feeling him last second, I'd say take the over on 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Guys, to end the show, we're going to do under the backboard as we always do. And a player that I am a huge fan of, but we do have to take him in this category, is Jayson Tatum, under 3.5 3-point field goals. This will be found on FanDuel minus 172 odds. So Jayson Tatum, obviously coming off a 21-point performance against the Toronto Raptors in Game 1. This is a team obviously known for their defense in the bubble right now within the Toronto Raptors. And I think they did a decent job against Tatum. They didn't let him break open the game, although they did not come out with the win. And if you take a look at Tatum in the 3-point category, he's only hit 2 per game in his last matchups. And his last 2 games, he's only attempted 5 3-point field goals. So guess what? If he attempts another 5 3-point field goals this game, that means he has to make 4 of those. I don't like those odds in that situation, especially the volume that Tatum has been shooting with, which means that he can only have, obviously, like I said, he only has room to miss 1 3-pointer and still get the prop if he keeps continuing to shoot 5 per game. Raptors also, like I said before, could find a way to bounce back, and they have the defense to back it up. They've posted the best defense within the NBA bubble, going up against some pretty tough teams. And like I said, on BetQL, Raptors still with an A defensive grade in this situation can find a way to take down Tatum, make sure he doesn't have over 3.5 3-point field goals. So yeah, I'm comfortable taking the under on this. Tatum is good from downtown. But like I said, there's also, think about all the other ways to spread the ball around, and Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, even guys like Marcus Smart. And if he usually has a line of 2.5, I see 3.5, a little more likely to take the under on that. So Tatum, I'm going to go under for on 3-point field goals within this game against the Toronto Raptors. Guys, just want to thank you so much for listening to the show today. Just want to remind everybody one more time, pick and pop player props with Jimmy Scalia. Guys, don't forget to tune in tomorrow as we have even more matchups between the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder, as that one is going to 7 as well. And we'll figure out the rest of the playoffs as they go along. Guys, just want to thank you again for tuning in. And don't forget, use promo code Scalia, SCALIA, to get 20% off a BetQL account. Definitely don't want to miss out on that. You will regret it. So, guys, enjoy the playoffs today. Hope the props come through with you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.